We're at the Global Anthropolis Summit in Singapore, and joining us on INSEAD Knowledge today is Cyril Camus, who is the president of Camus Cognac. Mr. Camus, thank you so much for joining us on INSEAD Knowledge. You're a family business that's been around since 1863. What is your market breakdown across geography today?
Today, basically, in terms of product mix, if we look at this, we are positioned in the high-end segment of the cognac market. So very, very strong focus on the higher price points, and therefore on the markets, geographies that are more able to purchase those types of products. So it would be Asia, representing about 50% of our business. Then some of the strong, newly developing luxury markets, such as Russia, which is a huge market now for us. To a lesser extent, Northern Europe, but would be so 50% Asia, 50% rest of the world.
China was almost a desperate move to save your family business. Could you explain to us the challenge that you were facing at the time and how China helped you turn around the company?
Basically, the wine and spirit business has a really long history, and most of the players in that market have been around 200 years or sometimes more. And we've all been following the same distribution system into the worldwide markets. Now, that was all nice and fine until, let's say, 25 years ago. A new business model, a new method of financing started to develop itself, and companies or financial partners got more interested in top of balance sheet operations than traditional financing. That, coupled with family shareholders' access to funds, made it very tempting, basically, for a lot of family-owned companies to find some kind of exit strategy for those shareholders. And that was at the initiation, I would say, of a great consolidation movement. Started 25 years ago. It's still continuing to some extent, but it has slowed down quite simply because 90% of the wine and spirit companies of any size now belong to groups, to consolidated groups. There might be 5, 6 groups in the world that would represent 90% of the total business. Now, once those groups have been formed, they would start to control the pipelines into the markets, sort of one-size-fits-all type of pipeline. If you're not part of the stable of brands represented by those groups, it becomes really difficult to keep and maintain your access to the market. And that's the situation we were facing as a company. From one side, we could see our capacity to distribute our products, to sell them, was being hindered by those groups, which were becoming more and more efficient. And we did not want to sell. And we picked China, and China was the right market for this, I guess, strategy or action plan. Quite simply because everything had to be done for everyone in China. It became a new market as soon as the state monopoly for liquor distribution broke down. It was a bit of a free fall. Everything seemed to be possible in a way. There was a window of opportunity where we could actually, as an independent company, build something new.
Part of your challenge in China is exposing consumers to your brand. How have you gone about doing that?
Within all that mass of products and brands going after the Chinese consumer, we presented ourselves as just ourselves. We were not saying, this is what you need to prove you're an achiever. Just saying, this is who we are. We are available, and if our value is of interest to you, then this is the brand you would like to have. Very different, very, very authentic positioning. One that is a lot less mass than what everybody else is looking at. One that targets a very small segment of the population, which is the people who consume luxury for themselves, not to signify anything about themselves to others. So it's self-enjoyment or enjoyment for oneself. So it's a small segment of the population that we targeted with this, and it's worked.
The US and Europe still represent pretty significant markets for you, but with growth slowing down in those economies, how are you revising your strategy?
Yes, US, Western Europe are all very mature markets for cognac. So you would think there's limited potential for growth, especially in the prevailing economic conditions. However, I believe that the things we have learned from our Asian and China operations in particular, that new way to access our consumers and make our products available, sell our products, I think that new business model is actually applicable to a lot of the currently mature markets. That makes them new markets for us in a way, and definitely a lot of growth potential worldwide for us. So I don't see the prevailing environment being an obstacle or a difficulty for us as a company. Very different from the industry overall, which is going to suffer from this. Yeah.
What are the lessons that you've learned from operating in China?
What I found in China is that the kind of clientele we have, they have no limitations to what they expect. Once a relationship is built, they will use that relationship to what they believe is an appropriate level, and it is our job to supply the service. And by doing so, we find out a lot more about our consumers, we find out about their interest, and all of a sudden we have a different relationship and we can sell a lot more things to that same person. So that's one of the key learnings, service level that we had to adjust to and that.
So who is your typical consumer?
Depends, multiple types of consumers for multiple reasons. People would generally tend to drink or purchase cognac either as a gift, usually corporate gift. That's one big segment of the market. Some people would drink to impress or communicate status, basically. Others will drink it for self-satisfaction and enjoyment. That's really the three key motivators. And markets like China, it would be mostly the first two, corporate gifting and then display of status. The third part, which is the one we're most interested in, is still tiny. But it's something that now that we're paying more attention, that we actually see the same dynamics of the same channels in different countries, except at different cycles of economic development in the country, you would have different proportions of those purpose of buying cognac. And in terms of age group, then it varies by country. For the notion of displaying status, you would find a much younger clientele in Vietnam than in China. But it's just because the money is being generated in Vietnam directly at the middle class. So we're talking middle management level, for example, so younger people. Whereas in China, it was mostly self-made businessmen or businesswomen. So you're looking at the 35 to 40-year-old age bracket. So yeah, different country, slightly different profiles, but same uses.
You've also diversified into other products. Why?
Because it is becoming expected of us. If we're a cognac supplier, people have a relationship with us or with our stores. Our consumers don't really want to go and talk to someone they don't know about choosing their wines. So they come and ask us, what would you recommend as wines? Now, if we're going to be involved in providing that information, we may want to actually go one step further and say, not only do we recommend this wine, but hey, here it is. We can make it available for you. You can purchase from us. That's one reason we got into those other categories, and it's going well.
What are some of these new products that you offer now?
It's wine, coffee, other kinds of spirits like Calvados, ice apple wine, but we also now distribute or retail glassware, crystal glasses, silver. Also, we're into a silvery business, so teapots, coffee pots, serving trays, cutlery, those kind of, because they're all part of the same world. The people say, well, you make great cognac, it's the great after dinner drink, you have the lifestyle. I don't have the proper glasses at home, or now I have beautiful glasses, but my table looks not like in that 5-star restaurant. How do I make my home look like this? How do I welcome my guests the same way I would in a nice restaurant? So we get involved in those businesses. Yeah.
Mr. Camus, thank you so much for joining us on INSEAD Knowledge.
Pleasure.